Good afternoon. We're just going to let the waiting room clear. Please make sure you're muted as you enter, and then we'll get started. All right, so good afternoon. This is a hearing before the Boston Cannabis Board, the BCB. Today is July 16th, 2025. Please note that today will be both the BCB's transactional and voting hearing. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. This is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Boston Cannabis Board. Today, I'm also joined by Commissioner John Smith, Commissioner Jack Hensley, Commissioner Sonal Gandhi, Commissioner Ramon Soto, and Commissioner Lisa Holmes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce. My name is Jasmine Nguyen. I am the Boston Cannabis Board Manager. We are also joined by Luke Santhouse, who is the Cannabis Licensing Specialist. I will begin by calling each item in the order they appear on the agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the proposal before us. For today's hearing, we have two amendments to already approved license establishments and no new license applications. Each proposal will have 5 minutes each to present to the BCB, followed by questions and comments from the board members. We will then move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives, followed by the general public. If you wish to testify, please sign up via the link that was put in the chat. If you have already signed up, you don't have to do it again. Additionally, you may request to testify using the chat function. Wait until the matter in which you would like to speak about is called. After we hear testimony, we'll move to a vote. Each board member has the ability to grant with conditions, defer, reject without prejudice, which means the applicant can return anytime with an application at the same location, or reject with prejudice, which means the applicant cannot reapply at the same location for 1 year. Just a quick housekeeping matter. Due to scheduling conflict, we will start with item number 2 and then go back to item number 1. So item number 2, we're going to start with the licensee is Mass Greenwords LLC, DBA Prolific Cannabis. The license premise is 116 Harvard Avenue in Alston. The license type is a marijuana retailer. They are requesting to change their hours. The current hours are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. The proposed hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. 7 days a week. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Hi, Maya Gall's here from Prolific Cannabis.
Good afternoon. I'm Eric Lawrence from Prolific Cannabis.
All right, you guys will have 5 minutes. You may begin.
Thank you, and good afternoon to the commissioner and all the board members. It's good to see everybody once again. Yes, as again, I'm Eric Lawrence. I'm the CEO and owner of Prolific Cannabis at 116 Harvard Avenue, and we are requesting an extension in our hours from 9 a.m. to 9 to 1 a.m. Prolific Cannabis is a social equity economic empowerment company. Our mission is to operate a premium establishment that makes a positive impact on the community. We offer living wage job opportunities with full benefits, career development, and entrepreneurial mentorship. Core values are to maintain an inclusive company culture and empower social equity and advocate for empowerment of social equity. Again, myself, Eric Lawrence. Maya Gall is our current acting general manager, and she is also an Alston resident. Our current business operates from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. We employ 12 employees, of which 8 of them are local residents in the Alston area. We're currently seeing anywhere between 75 and 100 customers a day. We've partnered with several local businesses and organizations to make a contribution to the community. In our immediate area, it is somewhat of an entertainment district, and there are many restaurants and venues that stay open beyond 11, some 24 hours. So we're proposing, again, to stay open to 1, which we feel aligns with the neighborhood and the community. Basically, primarily, we have a huge customer demand. I think on our next slide, we're going to show you where most of our business currently comes between the hours of 7 to 9. And we always have people who are trying to get in after 9 p.m. Our area is also primarily strictly commercial area with no direct residential abutters along that block. If you look at the last line of this chart, it shows you in the darkened shade there where the majority of our business comes between 7 and 9 p.m. Last year, Mayor Wu initiated a nightlife proposal to make Boston a little bit more competitive with some of the other major metropolitan cities and to create a thriving economy in Boston. We feel that our proposal aligns with the mayor's proposal as well as the neighborhood which we're in. This slide here shows some of the businesses that are all within 200 to 300 feet of us and the hours in which they're open. And in this chart, they're ranging from anywhere from 11 p.m. through 2 a.m. Next slide, please. So what we've done since we've been open, and as of tomorrow, tomorrow will be our 90-day anniversary, our 3-month anniversary. We've provided gallery space to local artists to come and display their work and monetize their work through our location. All but 4 of our current employees are residents of Alston. We saw about 300 applicants during our opening hiring process. So there's big demand there for local employment. We feel though also by staying open later, because of the regulations around cannabis facilities and security, there will be more eyes and ears on the streets in Alston that could provide additional security to the community. Since we've been open also, we've partnered with Alston Brighton Health Collaborative. We donated 5% of our grand opening proceeds to them. We also, during Pride Month, we organized a Pride Artist Market where we had about a dozen local artists come in and sell their crafts. And 5% of those proceeds went to Trans Resistance Pride Organization. And we will continue to participate in local community events, 2 of which are coming up would be the Taste of Alston and Rat City Arts Festival. Safety and security, as we've mentioned, we operate a safe and secure facility as required by the CCC. We have a comprehensive security system with cameras that monitor every square inch of the interior as well as the exterior of the building with panic alarms throughout the facility as well as secure access doors. We also implement and adhere to a very strict diversion prevention plan. All guests must be 21 plus. We have ID scanners that check and make sure that everyone is 21 that enters the building. Customers are not allowed to divert products. If they do, they'll be banned from the building. We retain the right to deny any sales to any individual. And our product and cash pickup and delivery are random and discreet. All of our customers that visit our facility are required to comply with our nuisance prevention policy, which is there's no public consumption, no diversion of products, no loitering and no littering are tolerated. Security monitors our sidewalk, our front storefront, as well as parking areas. And we do have an inside queuing area, so no one waits outside the building. Pre-orders are available, and we do not allow double parking in front of our facility. And that is the end of our presentation today.
Well, thank you, Eric. We'll move to the board members, starting with Chairwoman Joyce. Do you have any questions, comments?
Thank you for your presentation. So you've been open 3 months.
Yes.
Okay, so talk me through the community process for the original application where it was for 10 to 9, and then what kind of outreach you did and community meetings you had for these new hours. It's just that you're coming back to us 3 months after opening, and I want to make sure that the community understands exactly what you're asking. Your graph, that like the heat graph with the dark blue, that's helpful, but I'm just wonder if 3 months is enough time to gather the information about whether or not you need this extension of hours. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but those are some of my thoughts right now, and want to give you an opportunity to respond.
Sure. So, originally we were in front of this board to be approved for our current hours. I think it goes back almost 3 years now. And a lot has changed since that time, particularly, trying to operate a sustainable business in the cannabis industry is very difficult. We've entered into a very highly competitive area where we have on each side of us, north, south, west, and east, we have a cannabis dispensary within a half-mile of us. There's Mayflower, there's Union Twist, there's ComF Canna, there's Castle Leaf. They're all within a half a mile in different directions of us. We do feel that we do, because we are in this entertainment district and we have no direct residential abutters, we feel that our location is prime because of the abutters that we do have that are commercial and stay open later. It's prime for us to stay open and maintain later hours. To your point, in terms of the 3-month time frame, as I mentioned, is basically because of the long delay that we've had in opening our business. We are now at the point of really trying to dig out of a lot of debt. So not only is there customer demand for us to stay open later, and we find that some of our competitors, particularly on the weekends where they close earlier, we see a lot of their customers, a lot of that traffic coming. It's just, it's pretty much just a combination of trying to survive in this industry and trying to satisfy customer demand, and by staying open later.
And
So, go ahead, Maya.
I was going to say, talk about our community process. So when we initially opened, we did Alston Open Streets event, and we saw a lot of residents come out and express their interest in having us open. We did flyer the 300 abutters, 300-foot radius abutters when we opened for our community meeting with the Office of Neighborhood Services. We flyered again when we had our BCB meeting. And then we did have support from the Alston Civic Association, who is also here today. So I'll let Tony speak more. Hello, good to see you.
And I think Siggy also, with our last meeting, can speak to the level of support that we had from both customers, residents, and the butters.
And we also flyered twice again, once for our neighborhood meeting with the ONS. And again, for this meeting, we did flyer our butters within that 300-foot radius.
Were the neighborhood meetings well attended?
Yes, and I think, again, Siggy, you might want to jump in here because you have the numbers, I believe, and the data in terms of who, what the attendance was and what the level of support was.
Yes, we'll get to Siggy. He'll tell us the.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so the meeting was well attended. I don't know the numbers exactly, but the meeting was well attended. There was no opposition. that we heard, it was all support. And again, it was primarily our customer base and some of our neighboring businesses, as well as some of the local community organizations that supported the proposal.
Any additional comments from the chair?
No.
Commissioner Smith, do you have any questions, comments?
Thank you, Jasmine. Just quick question. So you're thinking that this will help in terms of competition. Then it may also increase your competition because everybody else will want to be open till 1 a.m. How are you?
Well, yeah, to that
that?
point, thanks for that comment, Commissioner Smith. I don't think everybody, as I mentioned, is in an area that they will benefit from the abutting businesses and the business that we have. So like people come to a restaurant where we are, a lot of those businesses, they don't have the abutting type of businesses that we do. They don't have the restaurants. They don't have the Brighton Music Hall that's next to them. They don't have the liquor store that's across the street from them, staying open till later. Most of them are isolated. Union Twist has nothing around it. Mayflower has a CVS next door to it. Where our location, again, is pretty much unique. We're kind of in the epicenter of the entertainment district, surrounded by multiple restaurants, stage karaoke. It is a nightlife entertainment, so we figure that we could feed off of some of that. And again, I think the biggest point there is that as far as staying open late, we won't be a nuisance to anyone because there are already multiple businesses that are staying open late, and there are no residential abutters at all.
Additionally, 1.5 miles from us is New Dia, and they are open until 12 a.m. A lot of our customers say that after we close, they will drive or find a way to get down, and it'd be more convenient for us to be open because they don't have to find a way to get transportation almost 2 miles away.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kinsler?
Thank you, Jasmine. You mentioned you have 12 current employees, and this would create potentially 10 new positions. What type of engagement with your employees have you had about the application for this hours extension?
Yes, all of our employees are aware that we're proposing to stay open later. Some, not all, based on, lifestyle, are willing to work during those later hours. But we do foresee having to hire, like you indicated, an additional 10 people. Our supervisors and management staff are all on board. So we don't see any issues there at all.
Okay, so do the employees you currently have work like set schedules, or does it vary a lot week to week based on business needs and stuff like that?
It's pretty much based on business needs as well as their availability. When they came in, most of our employees, we do require to work like at least one weekend day. The majority of them will work some closing shifts and some opening shifts as well.
But you do anticipate that with the additional positions you would bring on, you would be able to have that level of flexibility of some of your current employees say that, since they signed up to work till 9 p.m. and they tell you they don't want to work till 1 a.m., you anticipate being able to accommodate that as part of your business plan?
Yes. We've discussed this with all of our employees. Some of them, based again on their personal situations, can, and some cannot. And that's why we will be hiring more people to accommodate the hours.
All right. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Gandhi?
Thanks so much, Jasmine. And thank you both for a really great informative presentation. Mike, I have two questions. One, the no double parking allowed. Harvard Ave is notorious for double parking. How do you enforce the no double parking allowed?
Well, we do have, we have a security check-in personnel that kind of monitors that for us. They also, at the desk, they have cameras that cover the front side of the building. And you're right, it is notorious for that. You've got a lot of Uber Eats drivers that will pull up and, park and leave and go into pick up an order for somebody. But the security personnel kind of monitor that, and they'll go out and ask them not to double park. It's a continuous battle.
Okay. And then I super appreciate slide 7, which shows the hours of operation of the other businesses around you. That was a really great slide, so thank you for including that. And we want to, as part of our role here, I want to make sure, we want to make sure that businesses succeed. To Chairwoman Joyce's point, you've only been open for 3 months, and we want to again, make sure our businesses that are open in the city are successful. I am concerned about just setting precedent. You mentioned Udea open till midnight. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jasmine and Chairwoman Joyce, I do not believe there are any other establishments that are open past midnight in the city. So if this is not a question, so I'm going to amend my earlier statement. One question and one kind of concern. I want to see businesses succeed and thrive, but I'm also concerned because our purview is not just certain neighborhoods, but it's the entire city. I want to make sure that we're not setting a precedent here for other businesses to come in to ask for similar hours, especially when this business has only been open for a few months. So I'll just make that comment that I'm very not opposed to extended hours of operation, but I am concerned about setting a precedent for a 1 a.m., whereas there's none in the city that are currently open until 1 a.m.
Yes. So again, I think even with, to my knowledge, there is New Dia that is open to 12. And I believe Apex Noir is open to 12 on the weekends. Some of this in the request of hours and the hours that they're open also, I think, has to do with whether it's sustainable, whether there is enough customer traffic to support staying open to 12 or 1. And where we are, I do believe that there is enough traffic. The area really doesn't liven up until like 9 p.m. We see so many people trying to enter our store and we have to close the doors. So because there's so much activity in the area, we feel that from a sustainability standpoint, we have enough customer traffic and the area is busy enough to support it. Some of the, when you speak to setting a precedent, some locations aren't suited for this because there's no traffic in those areas, and they might stay open and not have the business to support the hours. If we weren't in an area that supported it, we don't want to stay open and pay employees and not have the business to support us. But we feel confident that the business is there to support us because of that chart that you saw with all the other businesses that are open. McDonald's is open at 3 a.m. down the street from us. 7-Eleven is 24 hours. Taco Bell is 3 a.m. There's just enough other businesses that are next to us that would support it, to support the hours and the decision to stay open later.
Thank you. Commissioner Holmes? Oh, Commissioner Gandhi, did you have follow-up? Sorry.
No, I was going to say thank you and no other questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holmes?
Just one, because actually Commissioner Gandhi asked just the same things I was concerned about, the double parking and the able to sustain the hours. But the only other question I would have, you said, so your security person, I think this is what I heard, sir. Your cameras from the front desk are what monitors the front of your building. You don't actually have a body outside at night in front of the building.
We don't, yeah, Commissioner, homes. We don't keep a body outside, but periodically we do ask, as in our presentation, they do monitor the sidewalk area. They do go out from time to time and make sure that there's no nuisance behavior going on, there's no double parking going on, but they can also see that from the cameras at the desk.
Okay, that was my question. Would you, with the later hours and listening to your proposal, there is a lot of activity along Harvard Ave at night. Would it be unconceivable to possibly put somebody in the later hours, outside? Or is that feasible?
Certainly, definitely feasible. And we certainly definitely would have no issue with doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was the only difference. The only question that I had was, would there be a physical presence at the later hours in front of the establishment?
Yeah, so from time to time, even currently, the check-in person will stand outside and actually prior to, or if we're staffed properly, we'll have one person on the outside that will do kind of like a preliminary check of the ID before it gets scanned through the ID scanner, and then they'll come in. So from time to time, even currently, there is someone that's kind of standing outside the building, and I've assumed that role on multiple occasions myself.
Are your employees are cross-trained? You said the person at the front desk will sometime go out and assume the responsibility of security. So do you have established security personnel, or are people doing multiple things at work?
People are cross-trained. Yeah,
Okay.
people are cross-trained to do security check-in, to do security bud tender. Right. We're a small team and we're lean, and so cross-training everybody keeps the budget down and makes things sustainable. Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I understand. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioner Soto?
Thank you, Jasmine. And thank you for the presentation. It was very helpful in contextualizing the request. I have a couple of questions. So, I want to dovetail on something that Commissioner Gandhi had touched upon in regards to the foot traffic and then your description of the area, right? I tend to agree with her. Like, I don't necessarily have an issue with that in that space, but I do have a concern about the precedent it sets generally, right? We have heard from other folks in areas where there may not be directly a residential place right next to it, or maybe it's like an apartment building that's on top or next door, or something to that effect, where they could potentially justify the same kind of argument, right? And there may be a neighborhood that's, diametrically opposed, and then there's a challenge to what that would suggest, and then we have to go back and say, how are we looking at this? So I guess what I'm thinking is whether or not there is a way to sort of categorize this type of request, and if not, because that wades into the policy side of things that I'm not familiar to the extent that the board can necessarily promulgate, but is there also potentially an option to sort of phase this in levels, right? Because I think from the business side of it, right, the concern is too big, too fast, or this kind of like all or nothing because of the sort of like you want to have the biggest net to catch as many folks, right? And I get that from like the business side of it, but there's also the concern of like, is it too big, too fast? And we actually set you up to fail, right? Versus maybe looking at that weekend crowd, which is particularly active along all of those streets. I went to school in the Boston area. I know very well how much things are open down there and fun and et cetera, which leads me to think that there's also, to Commissioner Holmes' point, not only the necessity of someone outdoors, but like someone with like true de-escalation skills and techniques, because I don't know about you, but when I'm walking around at midnight, right, there's a few folks who've had too many, and there's issues that what do you mean I can't come in, right? And when you got someone who's cross trained and maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, it might not be the right sort of like face for the individual who feels wronged in that moment, right? And so I just think like if there's a way to phase it in with like, and then if you come back and say to us, listen, we've been doing this for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, we've done this amount and we are, looking at a hole because of the 4 days we haven't been able to open, we could have made this much more, right? Then it sort of like behooves us to then look at it from that lens. But I just feel like as of right now, I have that one concern about the precedent and then also the speed of it. That being said, I don't necessarily disagree with your contention that it is a very viable, and reasonable and responsible request.
Yeah, so just to speak to precedent, at some point, this commission and this board has had to set precedent. If you look, obviously, with the 12 a.m. openings, and obviously, those were decisions that were made, and I'm sure they were made based on the level of support. They were made based on potentially the location and the area in which they are, and maybe also, like you're indicating, security and safety issues. To that point around security and safety, we do have a safety director. It was on our, I think, second or third screen, Chris Fateau, who has multiple years in nightlife, and club life and bars and so forth, and being a bouncer. So we would utilize his expertise in potentially hiring additional staff that, as you say, and I take your point very well in terms of not everybody who may be cross-trained to do security might not be suitable to de-escalate a situation. So we take that. That's a point well taken, and it's something that in the later hours that we would make sure that we have the right personnel in the right places to make sure that everybody's safe and secure.
We also just hired an additional personnel, and they have about 4 years experience of cannabis dispensary security specifically. So.
Just one last question. Have you reached out directly to your state rep or city councilor in regards to this request?
We have not reached out directly. We did reach out to Councilor Julia Mejia. She's not I think she's at large, but she was in support of it. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional comments from the board? All right, we'll move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives.
Madam Chair and board members, good afternoon. Siggy Johnson with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This petitioner completed the ONS community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting on the evening of June 30th, which was well attended with approximately 20 attendees. All that spoke at the meeting were supporting the application. 6 supporters identified themselves as Alston residents. Our office has received 19 letters of support from both Alston Brighton residents as well as residents from other neighborhoods in Boston, and 1 letter of opposition from another neighborhood in Boston. Proponent presented to the Alston Civic Association. I believe their president is on hand to testify as to their stance regarding the proposal. Questions were answered regarding the application at that meeting. With that background, our office defers judgment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Siggy. Any other elected officials or their representatives? All right, we will move. I see, Anthony, you have your hand raised if you want to begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Disadoro. I'm president of the Alston Civic Association. The proponents came to us on our monthly meeting on June 18th to present their proposal to extend hours of operation. Eric mentioned the lack of an abutting residential community. And for that main reason, we are going to defer judgment to the board. I do want to say that prolific cannabis has been extremely accessible during the community review process for both the establishment of the initial business and their latest request to extend hours of operations. I know the chair was interested in getting a sense of that. As Eric has mentioned in his testimony, they have really embedded themselves in the community, participating in a number of events and fundraisers and giving back to the community. And I know they've made an effort to establish collaborative relationships with their fellow business owners in the Alston Village area. So that has always been a very positive aspect of the proponents. I do want to say, though, that you guys have touched on a number of issues. Those members that did express some concerns about this proposal pretty much evolve around what has already been discussed, but I'll real quick. There were members concerned about extending this privilege, and they want to emphasize the word privilege for 4 additional hours after only being open for 90 days. And usually, as the chair mentioned at the beginning, there's usually a track record that gets established before additional hours are extended beyond the initial request. The parking congestion and general public safety issue was raised by members as well. You discussed the double parking aspects. The one thing that I think it's important to at least keep in mind is that, and Eric mentioned it, there's a clear delineation between business activity up to the 9 o'clock hour and then business activity from 9 to 1. It's really 2 different worlds. And, the infrastructure to have in place, security and everything is one thing leading up to that 9 o'clock hour, but then it's a whole different ball game if you want to compete in that 9 to 1 a.m. space. So there was some concerns regarding that. And as you know, it is an extremely busy area, and double parking is a serious issue, congestion, and just general people crossing the street and what have you, public safety issues. The precedent setting, absolutely. I am aware of those 2 establishments that are open in the city till midnight. We have a number of cannabis establishments already in Alston Bright. We have another one coming online. There's another one in the pipeline for community consideration. Certainly the precedent-setting aspects of granting this cannot be forgiven, so to speak. It would set a precedent. I wouldn't be surprised if other cannabis establishments asked for the same considerations. And the final issue, and this has nothing to do with the proponent, but it needs to be mentioned. In the last couple of months, we have had an uptick of some criminal activity in the Alston Village area that is very concerning. Some serious incidents that have occurred. We just hope that it's not a trend that's being established in that area, because obviously, as everybody mentioned, we want everybody, even late into the night, to go up to Alston Village and have a great time with friends and family and enjoy themselves. We simply don't want it to turn into a Wild West show where people are concerned about their safety, whether entering establishments or leaving establishments. We certainly don't want that to occur. So again, to just recap, given that there's not a strong abutting residential community, as Eric has mentioned, we felt that it was best to simply defer judgment to the board.
Thank you. The next person we have is Alex from Alston Village Main Streets that signed up to speak.
Hey guys, Alex Cornicini, Executive Director of Alston Village Main Streets here. I just wanted to jump on and say that agree with Tony that Eric and Maya have been incredibly welcoming into the neighborhood. They've been very easy to work with. They've been very transparent with their process. Since they started the process 3 or 4 years ago, we've been in constant contact with them and their plans, and we were really happy to see them open a few months ago. And since then, I've done a number of projects with them, events, sponsorships, stuff like that, art murals and whatnot. And yeah, for the reasons of, Alston is a nightlife center, and business doesn't really pick up until the afternoon, evening, into the night, especially for, restaurants, bars, cannabis stores. And, Alston Village Main Streets, our whole mission is to support local business community and make sure we're a thriving neighborhood center. And the success of our small business community is really what makes that a reality. And having the success of Prolific top of mind lets us support this proposal. I think, because they've been a great neighbor in the short time that they've been here, because they've been a part of the neighborhood for 3 years now, even though they've just opened a couple of months ago. We trust the owners. We trust Eric and Maya, and Chris, who's the security manager. He's on site all the time. Every time I go in, he knows exactly what's going on the street, in the store. He's a great worker. And if this is what they need to be successful long term, then Alston Village Main Street supports the proposal.
Thank you, Alex. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this matter? All right, seeing no one. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have a motion?
Before I have a motion, is there a reason why you worked with Councilor Mejia and not your district city councilor or your state rep?
Yes, well, not particularly, but Chairwoman, we had reached out to Liz Breeden. We understand what her position is on cannabis. When we first 3 or 4 years ago, she her position is she doesn't take a position.
Okay.
And we had previously asked for her support, and she just didn't. But we could have just to make her aware of what our proposal was. But yeah, we'd not gotten much feedback from her one way or the other when we have reached out.
And I get that. I understand that, but from my perspective as chair of the board, I want to make sure that we have a process in place where people are aware of what's going on. I take responsibility. We take responsibility of not really having a process in place right now for this extension of hours. To me, this feels like the extension makes sense in some ways, but today, because I think it has real business impacts, but today, I feel as if we've only been open 3 months, and I don't believe everyone that should be aware of it is aware of it. Even if Councilor Breeden takes no position, I think it's in your best interest as a business owner to have had that conversation. I do think I agree with my other commissioners that said this could be very much precedent setting. I envision tomorrow Jasmine getting a bunch of applications for other places to want to extend their hours. So I think you have a good application. I think it's persuasive in many ways. I don't believe 3 months is enough time to really see the business impacts of that additional 4 hours. I would probably support a more incremental increase, but I'm not prepared to support that now. My vote would be to defer this to our next meeting and ask that you have that conversation with your district city councilor and the state rep, or at least your district city councilor, and continue to give us some more information about those later hours. I think the security is a real issue. I'm also chair of the licensing board. So I do deal with security issues on the liquor side, and it's not necessarily where people are purchasing and leaving, it's where people are actually consuming. But you paint a picture of people like having to rush to another part of the city because this place is closing at 9. I don't know if I am convinced of that right now. So in many ways I support this, but I would like more information. And I'll work with you to let you know what I think I need. But my vote today would be to defer.
So it's to defer to our August hearing, and you want them to reach out to the city councilor.
Our August voting meeting, yeah.
August voting meeting. All right. Is there a second? Michelle, all in favor? All right, and none opposed. All right, so this matter is deferred to our August voting meeting. We'll be in touch with the licensee as far as what exactly we need as far as security plan, and reaching out to your city councilor. With that, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our next matter. The licensee is Castle Leaf LLC, doing business as Castle Leaf. The license premise is 100 Birmingham Parkway in Brighton. The license type is a marijuana retailer and product manufacturer license. And this request is for a change of ownership interest. Green Brighton LLC proposes to acquire 100% of the equity of Castle Leaf LLC. This is a non-equity applicant. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
On behalf of the licensee, I think is Glenn Frank?
Glenn Frank, yeah, I see him. I just asked to unmute, or maybe he's frozen. Oh, I don't know.
I think technically Glenn represents Castle Leaf.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Sorry,
Yes.
I was on mute. Yeah, thank you, board. My name is Glenn Frank. I represent Castle Leaf. We have entered into an agreement with Scott's client to transfer the membership interests of Castle Leaf to Scott's client. It's been a interesting path for us in Castle Leaf. Over the past several years, as we've gone forward, the process has not been completely financial success. The capital inputs, were kind of overwhelming. We got behind with the landlord. And then Castle Leaf decided that it was in their best interests that they turn it over to an operator with more experience. And everyone seems to be on board with Scott's client. There's an agreement in place. It's been approved by the Cannabis Control Commission, the transfer. So we're here today to ask for the board's permission to complete this transfer to Scott's client. I'm going to let him talk about his client in more detail. But we are here if there are any questions with regard to Castle Leaf currently.
All right, Scott, did you have any additional, or that was the end?
I try to keep these presentations relatively short. We've been approved. The parties have been parties with respect to Green Brighton have been background checked. Everything's been approved. I sent the board a copy of the CCC approval, and so they. Sunny has other interests in the state, as I've provided to the board in our background document. Susanna has been working in a number of different establishments, so she has a background in operations as well. And so we've been working on this for a while, so we're obviously anxious to have the board hopefully approve this application.
Thank you. We'll see if any of the board members have any questions or comments. Chairwoman Joyce?
I'm just taking a look at the materials at the org chart. Maybe I'm missing something. Sorry, I just opened up the wrong thing.
It would be Green Brighton would be the equity owner, so I didn't necessarily put Castle Leaf above them in the org chart.
Sure, but who is in
It's Susanna catch Tran. She's on this call as well. She would
Oh,
be
so
the manager.
they're the only two owners of Green Brighton?
Correct. Yes. Yep. 91% and change to Susanna and
Sorry, I
Sunny
missed that one.
Trust and the other 9.9. Yep, but she would be the manager. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. I have no questions.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Jasmine. No.
Commissioner Kinsley?
No questions from me.
Commissioner Holmes?
No questions.
Commissioner Soto?
No questions.
Commissioner Gotti?
No questions. Thank you, Jasmine.
Okay, with no questions from the board, we'll move to public testimony. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this matter? All right, seeing no one, Chairman Joyce, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the change of ownership interest.
Is there a second? All in favor? And none opposed. Change of ownership interest is granted as presented. All right, those are all the matters before the board today. Our next transactional hearing will take place on August 13th at 1 p.m. Thank you all for attending and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Oh, yep.
What was the result of the vote from the, I'm sorry, I was having another conversation. What was the result of the previous hearing? I didn't hear what the vote was.
Of the last matter we just heard?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
deferred. It's deferred to our next meeting in August.
Okay, just checking since it's our neighbor as well.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep.